Welcome back to the channel, and thanks for watching. So, if you're confused by the timeline of this video, this is just like the last one I released about white trash. This one was filmed over the course of like 6 months. I would do a little thing here and a little thing there, and it was something I intended to do really quick and get done. I just kept procrastinating. I worked on Junior's car, and I kept doing other things, and finally getting around to wrapping this up. So here's just a random assortment of things that I did, like welding under the hood, reconnecting some things, just trying to get the car back together. That way, when the day comes, it'll be ready. But thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Since things are not going so well in the short block build, I am going to come and try to do some reinforcement welding on Project White Trash. White Trash was wrecked in the 90s, I think in 1998 or so, and this was the body work that was done at the time. These are not my welds. I just cleaned this spot up, and I'm going to try to reinforce this. Now don't get me wrong, these are not my welds, but my welds will be just as ugly as this here in a few minutes. Alright, I added a couple of beads to it, and I came back through here at the grinder wheel to try to clean it up a little. Some of my welds just popped right off, some of them stuck. Yes, I'm aware of how horrible this is, and yes, I'm aware that I could pay someone to do this, but I won't learn if I don't figure it out myself. So I came in here, hammered some of this flat. I've got to finish welding some of this around. I'm not worried about pretty, I'm just worried about strong. I just want my radiator support to stay on. Here are my million different beads holding this on. Oh my God, I know it's hideous. It doesn't help that I cannot see through my welding hood at all. Not at all. I don't have a self dimmer. I've got to lift it up, aim, close it, and I can't see through it while I'm welding. So I got a lot of misses. I've got as many misses as I do hits. I'm going to have to go through and hit some more on this inside spot here, and then come back through with the grinder and clean it up. This is the other side of the radiator support. I'm glad I came over here. Glad I started doing this. As soon as I touched it with my bare hands, this popped off. I've come through and cleaned up the edges with a wire wheel to weld it, but these 30-something-year-old, 35 or 25, 26-year-old welds have not held. This was flexed out away and just popped these old welds off. So you can see where the welds have pulled out. This is a pretty thin little sheet, but I'm going to try to put this back. All right, I decided to just take that entire bracket off and start over. Kind of ground some of this down. I've gotten a hammer, kind of reshaped some of this. I didn't even notice this bracket up under here. I'm going to try to weld. You can see where that is moving. I'm going to try to kind of close that up a little, box that in, and then bridge this with another piece. Before I put on the caster camber plates, I guess I should get the rattle can out and at least spray the tops of these shock towers or strut towers white so they somewhat match. Just kidding. Apparently I don't have any white paint, so I got to go buy some, and I guess do it later today. And because I'm going to do it later today, I guess I got to let it dry, and then I guess I'll put the rest of this on tomorrow. All right, let's do this. This is not just some kind of hack garage rattle can job. I'm not just some hack garage mechanic. I am an artiste. I am making art. It is beautiful. It has been a couple of weeks, but I'm going to get back to some welding today. So I discovered something the other day which made me feel a little bit better. I discovered that one of the reasons I could not get anything to stick at all was I did not have flux core wire. I had shielded MIG wire in my welder. That would have been a lack of attention on my part when I bought the stuff at the store, because I don't have a gas shielded welder. I don't have a true MIG, I have a flux core. And I grabbed the wrong spool at the store and I didn't even notice until I couldn't figure out why this stuff wouldn't stick. But now I've got my regular flux core back, so hopefully I can get some stuff done. I'll probably show you very little of it because I don't expect it to look a whole lot better. Forgot to start recording earlier, but I am attempting to weld this piece to this piece. For context, this is the inner fender to the radiator support. All of this over the years has broken off. All of these old welds that held it have popped off, and I'm attempting to reattach this. If I take the C-clamp off, this and this are completely independent up here, all the way down around this headlight, the headlight bezel or whatever. So I'm trying to get this to be attached as one piece again. This one is still held a couple of places, but I'm going to come back around and I'm going to try to reattach all of this also. This one's at least in one piece. This side over here was completely free floating independently. Mid weld update. You can see this is not pretty. Believe it or not, these holes, well, so this hole is factory. This hole is factory. I'm partially closing it back up because there was a break over here. Those two holes. This hole and this nastiness over here, believe it or not, I didn't do that with the welder. I know it looks like I did, but I did not. I did that with the grinder wheel of death, my favorite tool. Normally, Guad and I are on the same page, and we do really well. We do good work together, but I got a little over exuberant cutting some welds down over here and ground through the factory sheet metal. So now you can see that I'm going through and I'm trying to actually patch that with flex core, just one little notch at a time. I know, no need to tell me that's not how a real welder would do it. I'm aware of that. I am not a real welder. I'm even worse at welding than I am mechanicking. This is absolutely disgusting, I know. I did finally burn through a couple places accidentally. Not this over here. This is the grinder. I burned through here and right here a couple of spots. I had to go back in and on the underside weld in some material, put a whole bunch of flex core bead and stuff, and I know it's absolutely hideous and disgusting. I'm going to call that quits for today. Oh, yeah, I meant to say, it is disgusting, but it is factually one piece. It is not great. It is not pretty, but it is factually one piece. So therefore, as horrible as it is, I did technically weld it. Yeah, I wasn't going to show you all this, but yeah, I screwed up a few times. I need to go back in, and I may just weld in a piece under here, an extra piece just to reinforce this. Calling it quits for today. I'll come back sometime and probably fill this in a little better. I'm going to prime it for the night, prime it for this week, and just leave it be. All rebuilt and repaired, right? Right, because that's definitely how that works. It is May. I don't remember the date, but I am trying to get this thing back together. I am no longer interested in getting it pretty. I'm just trying to make this one solid piece and move along. I've got other things to do. As ugly as it is all holding in one piece. I'm going to go around to the other side, hit a couple little spots, and then I'm going to get some primer on this thing and be done with it. Alright, got a little bit of primer on that, both sides. Got a little bit of primer on this. On this side, they're hideous, they're ugly, but I've been beating on it, and the welds are pretty strong. I'm not really overly concerned with grinding them down and making them look beautiful or anything like that. I'm just gonna go with it and carry on working on the car. All right, new change of plans. The underhood of White Trash is going to flat black. I've already tired of this gloss white. My plan was what Hammond, Clarkson, and May would call ambitious but rubbish. I can't keep this stuff clean. It's not looking good. I keep nicking it and taking chunks out of the white, just screwing around, and I'm tired of it. So everything you see, everything here is going flat black. The white parts have already been primed, rust eater where needed, and painted with white. I'm just going to go over them with flat black. All right, it is done. I may have to go through and touch up a couple spots. These bright spots you see are still a little wet whenever I touched it up. This is pretty flat black. You can see the flat in the few places that it's dried, like over here. It's going to be a very dark charcoal gray, light black color. Old school hot rod type engine bay. They're still white in places that I can't easily get to. I'm not worried about that. It is all painted, so it's rust protected, but I really didn't feel like dealing with trying to keep this entire engine bay white and clean with gas and oil and everything else. And even though it would be a lot easier to see when I have a leak, yeah, it just wasn't worth it. I did the radiator supports. I did everything. Still got a little bit to do under the fenders and stuff, but as long as there's no rust and everything's painted, I'm not really worried about it. Well, it isn't pretty, but we were finally able to get to the inside of White Trash for the first time in a while. Got the VIN number off it so I can start the title process. And we were motivated by getting the front suspension and the tires on. So hopefully we start the process today of starting to rebuild the car. We're going to try to put the dashboard in it, get the steering column hooked up, and make it to where it's able to roll and move. Here is the dashboard frame. I believe this is the first thing I need to mount in the car to be able to hook up the steering column and stuff. I got to figure out what all size bolts I need. First thing we're going to do is put some rust reformer on it, keep it from rusting. Here's the current condition of the inside of the car. Oh, man. Pretty rust free being in this garage all these years. There's some rust. The roll cage has got a little light surface rust. We may have a little rust forming down there around where the roll cage was. I'm not sure I ever painted down there where the roll cage is welded in. So I'll have to pull all this out when we get the car moving, and I'll have to check, and I'll have to see. It may need reinforced welding, who knows. Not too bad, it's just dirty and dusty from sitting with the windows down for 25 years. It's late August. I've had a lot going on today, but I just hooked the steering rack in the car. I've got the steering bracket here. I'm about to get in the car and try to mount that along with the pedals and the brake booster, which is somewhere, hopefully in here. Nope, gotta go find the brake booster. It sounds weird to say, but it's been so humid in Texas lately that some of my previously painted parts have started to rust. And this wasn't previously painted. This is my 36-year-old brake booster that I'm painting for the first time in 36 years. But this stuff was already painted, and it's already starting to show some rust. couple of painted spots under the hood are showing rust through also. Time to rebuild it again. Finally back inside white trash. Trying desperately to remember how this dash bracket goes back in. If I could get this thing to hang up here, probably be doing pretty good. Then I could figure out how to mount the steering wheel and get it out of my lap. So far I see exactly one bolt that I need to do this, and I have no idea where the others are. This will be fun. Oh man, I'm really in trouble here. I don't even know what this is. I just grabbed some metal bracket, trying to figure out where it might go and how it might help me put this dash bracket in, and there's something electrical hooked to it. I don't remember anything about this. I don't see a part number to run. I'm in trouble. This is going to be a lot harder to put together than I thought. Better get the self-tapping screws. Wait, do the brake pedals help hold up the steering wheel? Huh? Someone answer me, damn it. Huzzah! I think those two go in there and something goes through here. Oh my God. Hey, sweetie. I think I just found the two nuts for these things and one of the other bolts and nuts over here on the floor of the Mustang. I can go match this one more bolt and I think I can get this installed. All right, I'm in business. I do not care that that doesn't match and isn't correct. Don't care. I'm melting right now. I got to get this installed. But first I got to get this brake booster on, which I just painted and is still partially wet. Oh man. Thanks to my lovely wife who supports me in my endeavors. She held the brake booster in place and I was able to get it installed. She also held the brake booster while I put the brake pedals on and held the steering wheel up while I got the steering wheel installed. It's not completely tight yet, but check this out. I turn the wheel, the wheels turn. Craziness. White Trash has a functioning steering rack and steering wheel and steering column. Also has pedals. I can't believe it. I am sitting in my car with a functioning steering wheel. I turned the wheels. I completely forgot what the steering wheel looked like after all these years. And I have pedals. The clutch cable and the throttle cable aren't hooked up, but they're there and they function. The brake booster is hooked up and seems to be working. Oh, I guess I should hook up the master cylinder. For the first time in 25 years, White Trash has its pedals installed. They're hooked up. The steering wheel is hooked up and it works. I can turn the wheels. I'm sitting in the seat of my car pushing pedals and turning the steering wheel, and it feels so good. And there is the master cylinder hooked back up. Huh. Less than ideal. Not really sure where all that went. I've never seen any signs of any brake fluid being spilled anywhere. I'm sure it'll be fine. Topped off the brake master cylinder. I've got my wife in there. Gonna pump it now. Yeah, I think the master cylinder might be leaking out the back. Oh well, it's not to be unexpected. I just did a full brake system on the boys' car and I do want to get in here soon if this thing ever runs. Well, that sucks. I went to mount my driver's seat and found that I don't have a seat bracket on it at all, which is why I was sitting so low. My guess would be, I think it used to be automatic and I wanted to swap it out for a manual, and I just never got around to it back in the 90s because I don't see a seat bracket anywhere. Found the seat bracket. Yep, it's automatic. That's what I was afraid of. Gonna have to try to find a couple of manuals. I can't stand these things. This feels so good, it's unreal. Sitting in my nasty, dirty, dusty, disgusting 1988 Ford Mustang GT, and it feels amazing. Listen. Oh, whoops. I forgot to clip the brake pedal on and it just popped off. But whatever. Everything's working and I'm happy. But boy, get in the car. Faster, boy.
What seat?
Yeah, that's a little bit of a problem. Just sit on the floor, boy. Don't mouth at me. Now turn the steering wheel. Huzzah! Give me a huzzah!
Huzzah!
All right. Now, push the brake pedal. It does brake things, boy. You've missed much today.
Is it attached to the actual brakes back there?
It's attached to the brakes front and back. It might be leaking a little bit, but, I mean, they're technically brakes. Just a little. You missed many things today, boy.
Final test. Let's see.
No, there's no power to it, loser.
No horn.
No horn. There's no power or anything. And that's it. Like I said, it's just a random assortment of stuff. There's no theme or no storyline. There's nothing like that. I'm just trying to get this old girl back together. Get it functioning. Thank you very much for your support. I appreciate it.